What's poppin', everybody? It's your boy SnowyKurama, and the Chicago White Sox are back in another draft league. This time we're in the premiere season of my buddy Ice's Moonlit Draft Center. The R and the E are switched because he's British, so it's center, not century. Moonlit Draft Center. For those of you who don't know, a Pokemon Draft League is a competition between a number of coaches who draft a team of unique Pokemon they use in battle week to week until one team is crowned the champion. We are given 115 points to draft 10 to 11 Pokemon, ranging from 20 points all the way down to 1 point, and then use 22 Terra points to denote Pokemon that are allowed to Terrastalize during battle, also known as Terra Captains. There are 2 skill-based divisions this time around, and ya boy was put in the upper div. Pitch Black. I don't know why I'm up here, but I am, and we're gonna do what we can against all of these seasoned battlers. Let's go ahead and break down the Chicago White Sox draft. So my original plan was to start with Iron Valiant, but due to some talking out of turn in the chat, it seemed to me that it was taken at a time. So I tossed a coin between Blaziken and Sneasler, and it landed on Sneasler. It's a great physical attacker with decent speed and a broken move in Dire Claw, which acts as Effect Spore on contact. Poison Fighting Stab is a great offensive combination that my opponents will have to find a decent resist into before they get absolutely smashed. What the fuck was that? Since I'm going all in with Sneasler, even though I was still very annoyed with the Iron Valiant, I picked up Rillaboom for my second pick. Rillaboom's Grassy Surge ability works great with Sneasler's Unburden while it holds a Grassy Seed, and to give priority to its own Grassy Glide. Grass typing plus terrain will help immensely with Sneasler's ground weakness, and forces any water type to run more bulk to live super effective hits. It has great utility moves and U-turn and knockoff, which can remove boots from my opponents and make it easier to let in big threats. For round 3, I saw Mon I was very surprised to see not go right away. We got Deoxys Speed. As the name suggests, this thing is blazingly fast at a base 180, which allows me to run Modest or Adamant nature in most cases. It's got some great coverage on both offensive stats, as well as access to lots of hazards, and Thunder Wave for some nice support. I've seen OG Albina and my friend Addison put in the work with this thing in their league, so I'm very excited to see what it can do here. On to round 4. This team is not the most Sandstorm centered, let's be real, it's not centered that way at all. But I saw my favorite Pokemon of all time available, so I had to scoop up Excadrill for round 4. Just like my round 1, it's got a wonderful offensive typing and ground steel, and some decent bulk if we invest into it. Its main stab move, Earthquake, might not be effective in terrain, but it still has Rapid Spin, and it can set up its own rocks, which is pretty cool. Up next, I noticed the team was lacking a good special attacker and psychic resist, so I got them both in one with Hydreigon. It's strong, relatively fast, and it has U-turn, which hits pretty well thanks to its respectable attack stat. Dragon Stab will be very useful since it isn't resisted by any Pokemon that Sneasler won't be able to take out itself. Hydreigon did use utility moves like Defog and Roost, but it still has some pretty great coverage, and has a ground resistance just in case terrain ends. In round 6, I was looking to draft Hisui and Arcanine, but since it was taken, I went with his Cantonian cousin. The OG Arcanine brings a ton to the table, such as strong priority, offensive and defensive stats, Intimidate, and a very welcome Ice Resist. Arcanine is one of my Terra Captains, which should help it either live a hit or otherwise wouldn't, give it more opportunities to click E-Speed, or let it hit back with a new super effective move in Terra Blast. I needed a fighting Dark and Dragon Resist, so my fairy type for the league is Comfey. I figured that its triage ability, which gives its healing moves priority, would make this thing bulky as hell with the terrain up, not to mention terrain boosted Giga Drains. Besides that, it's got decent speed stat and some great utility moves in U-turn and knockoff, and can be a great Calm Mind sweeper if I'm given the opportunity. I needed a flying resist badly, so I opted to go with the underrated Rotom Fan. While it may have redundancy between its flying type and levitate, it is still a Rotom form with all the nice coverage and support options with its own unique coverage move in Air Slash. It might not have defog anymore, but it's still one of the best 4-point mons in the tier, in my opinion. For round 9, I wanted to pick up a bulky water to help against fire and ice types. My first choice was Milotic, followed by Vaporeon and Blastoise, but each one of them was sniped before I had the chance. I weighed my options and decided on Slowbro. It's a nice defensive pivot with regenerative ability, meaning it can switch out and can recover more HP than usual thanks to the terrain. It's got decent coverage to coverage weaknesses too, and can recover on the spot with Slack Off. Slowbro is one of my Terra Captains with kind of the same idea as Arcanine, living a hit and being able to Fire Black with a Terra Blast or something along those lines. Round 10, I really only had 2 points left, so I picked up the 1-point funny Hippopotas. Not really much to say here besides it has rocks, can set up the sand for Excadrill. That's really it. I thought I drafted a pretty good team. The only real glaring issues to my knowledge are the striking weakness to ghost types with only Hydreigon to resist, and that my resident steel type is Excadrill, which, while it's cool, it's not really the best unless you really want to invest in the defensive stats, and that thing really just wants to fire off some strong attacks. So I consulted the GOAT MC, and we made some pretty nice changes in the grace period. We dropped Slowbro, Rotom Fan, Hippopotas, and used the one leftover point for Empoleon, Noctowl, and Pikachu. Empoleon fits like a glove over Slowbro because it's a water type that is not weak to Ghost, and is also an additional steel type to back up Excadrill. It can take advantage of the terrain by letting it soak up the ground type attacks that would otherwise be super effective. It also lost Defog, but we can take advantage of its new competitive ability to rip holes through my opponent's team. I'm very excited to use this thing. Noctowl certainly is a Pokemon that exists, but it's a little bit more than that. It's an additional resistance to ghost attacks, and it also didn't lose Defog, which is pretty good, so the Excadrill isn't the only thing that can get rid of hazards. Its special bulk is much better than one might think on first glance, which is even better combined with Roost and Terrain to recover even more HP. Noctowl has decent coverage options that are also boosted by Tinted Lens, so this thing is, might not be that bad. Pikachu is a funny little one-pointer with the options of taking advantage of two unique items, a Violite and a Light Ball. It has access to Wish and Thunder Wave if I choose to use it defensively, and its Light Ball boosted attacks are no joke. It acts as a flying resist for the team and can Volt Switch out to bring in its teammates for a better matchup. Dropping Slowbro made room for two new Terra Captains, in Comfey and Pikachu. Comfey now has some much needed coverage, and more opportunities to get off priority healing moves. Pikachu is a stronger Terra Captain than it might look thanks to its signature item, and it can serve the team more defensively as well. At this point, I figure I owe an explanation on why I stopped uploading BRL. To be honest, I wasn't having much fun with it. I was trying to balance being entertaining while also battling in a format that I'm not entirely familiar with. At the time, it was a long while since I uploaded anything thanks to my time overseas, so you already know I was rusty on content creation in general. I'm hoping the new format of my videos for this league will help both in the team building and battling process, as well as content creation. The next video covering weeks 1 and 2 will be uploaded as soon as I have it finished, so keep a lookout for that. Comment down below how you think the team turned out. Who is your favorite member? Any changes you would have made? Personally, my favorite part of the team is when you make it all shiny. Half of them are yellow. The color coordination. Not intentional, I swear, but it's just funny. I love it. Like this video if you have not already, and if you want to. Subscribe if you want more Draft League content. And with all that being said and more, this has been your boy, SnowyKurama. I'll see you for weeks 1 and 2. And have a good one.